You are listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast, a show by personal trainers for personal trainers. It's time to become a better trainer, get more clients, and change more lives. And now, here's your host, the head coach and founder of Fitness Mentors, Eddie Lester.
Hey guys, welcome to Fitness Mentors Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Lester, and I'm super excited to be here today as we are going to be getting into the one biggest mistake that's killing your personal training business and how to fix it. And I'm really excited to let you know exactly what this big mistake is. But before we do, I just want to let you know that we are running our 4th of July Independence Day sale right now. Use code LIFT30 at checkout for 30% off any of our programs, any of our certification exams or certifications, as well as our continuing education courses, things like that. So definitely check that out, especially if you're really looking to get certified, kind of level up your career, get more education, and really just kill it as a personal trainer. So with that in mind, let's dive into what this one big mistake is. So I've been doing a lot of consulting lately, not only with personal trainers, but with gyms. And there's been something very unique that I've been noticing. After we get into all of their data around how many trainers they have, how often they're training, what are they struggling with, what are their sales like, what's their conversion rates, and this is with trainers as well. When you get into the dirty data, it's become very clear that there's one mistake that I see being made all the time, and it's really affecting the ability of that trainer to be successful in general. And what is that? It is basically trainers are only selling clients on training 1 to 2 times per week. And in my opinion, this is one of the biggest pitfalls of personal training, not only because it's truly not going to deliver the client's results, but because it doesn't allow the trainer to fully optimize their schedule with less clients in total for all of their sessions. You can train, we'll say, 20 people 1 to 2 times per week and end up with about 30 hours of total training per week. But if you have 10 clients training 3 times, not only are their results going to be better, but you are going to be able to manage that significantly easier. So I wanted to bring this up because I see this all the time. And what's really unique is that at the end of this, they're like, why am I not able to grow? Those sort of elements. These trainers that I've been talking with, they have 13, 14, 15, 20 clients. I'm like, that's insane. You should be crushing it. You should be like way overwhelmed with the amount of work you have. And then I basically get down to it and they're like, oh no, like I'm training half of those clients only 1 time per week. And in my opinion, when you think about that, is doing yourself an injustice as well as the client, because not only are you unable to truly get that person a complete full body workout that's effective for all muscle groups, but it's really leading to your ability to build a business. In my opinion, as a trainer, you should not be training less than 3 times per week with a client. If a client says, I can only train twice a week, maybe if you're desperate, take that client, but really tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I really reserve my clientele for the ones that are fully committed and the ones that are going to be training 3 to 4 times per week. Super important. And we're going to get into how do you sell that. That's going to be a really big emphasis of this podcast. But I wanted to point out this mistake because I see it so often. And every trainer and every gym that I've consulted with and suggested this one thing has almost doubled their profitability and doubled their ability to generate revenue in their personal training business. So now let's talk about how can you sell 3 to 4 sessions per week to a new personal training client. And really quickly, before we get into that, if you currently have clients that are training 1 or 2 times a week, it's an immediate opportunity for you to flip them and earn more money and earn more revenue and help them further by getting them on that 3 time a week schedule. But let's really quickly jump into how can you sell 3 to 4 times per week with a personal training client that's coming in and they're ready to train and you just need to sell them on this 3 to 4 times per week. With this in mind, from the very first time that I started personal training at an Equinox in Los Angeles, my personal training manager that helped me even get my first sale said, you shouldn't train people less than 3 times per week just because it's not that effective for them in achieving their goal. So from the very first start, I said more or less that I wasn't really going to take clients that were only 1 and 2 times per week. If it was 1, I actually would not accept them. I 100% would say I'm only really there for committed clients that truly want to achieve their goals, and it requires this 3-time-a-week approach. And what's very unique about that is almost 0 of my clients train twice a week. They were all training 3 and or 4 times per week, and they were all getting insanely great results because of it. So let's talk about, you're in a sales situation. You're starting to talk about someone achieving their goal. You've clearly gotten over with them all the health screening, maybe some assessments, basic stuff like that. Now you're starting to talk about, okay, so how do we get you to this goal? One of the first things that needs to be known is that in order to achieve any fitness goal, there has to be a lot of commitment. And specifically, you have to train pretty much 3 times a week, as the split or progression in your programming allows for the most effective muscle, we'll say, development, and we'll say workout development and caloric expenditure if you split it with a 3 times a week rather than an upper body and a lower body day, or 2 times per week. So this is super important because you have, we'll say, 6 major muscle movements. You have your upper body push, your upper body pull in the horizontal plane. You have your upper body vertical push and your upper body pull in the vertical plane. And then with your lower body, you have a lower body push and a lower body pull. Then you have your accessory muscles, we'll say biceps, triceps, calves, maybe some forearms in there. When we think about an effective programming split, you have to hit those 6 particular movements once per week at least to effectively train that muscle group. And when we think about that's really an opportunity to explain to the client that this is the best way to do this is to, we'll say, train 3 times a week. My splits were commonly lower body push-pull, maybe a horizontal push and a horizontal pull, and then a vertical push, vertical pull. That's 3 separate days that absolutely, in my opinion, with all the clients that I've trained, led to the most effective, we'll say, development of those muscle groups, and therefore, we'll say, whatever their goal was, whether it be to gain muscle or lose body fat, the most effective use of those muscles for caloric expenditure, and then therefore allowing them to lose weight through effectively training those groups. And also when it comes to postural issues, when we do focus on those, we'll say 6 muscle movements, it balances the body in overall movement. So when we start to think about how you're going to approach selling this particular 3 to 4 sessions per week with a client, you want to lead with the science. It's like, hey, you're coming to me and you want to achieve this goal right here, this goal. Here's what you have. And the most effective way to do so is to train with me 3 to 4 times a week, going over, or basically, and that is what's going to lead to you achieving your goal. We all know if you only train 2 times per week, developing major muscle groups is going to be significantly harder than if you were. That's because you're putting so much effort into those 2 days and a lot more sets, therefore a lot more potential cortisol development. And that isn't as, we'll say, effective for developing muscle, developing proper movement, coordination, all of the above. Can you train twice a week? Absolutely. But overall, scientifically proven that the most effective way to train is beyond the 2 times per week into that 3, into that 4. That's at least for advancing towards your goals as quickly as possible. Yes, you can achieve goals working out 2 times per week, but when we think about optimal and the quickest and the best way, you definitely want to go beyond that. And so when we think about how you're really bringing this up to a client is, this is how it works. This is what is going to lead to your most success. That's how you're going to frame it in the client's mind. They're not thinking about, I only want 2 sessions a week, and that's because I don't want to train more than 2 times per week. It's okay, then if you don't want to train more than 2 times per week, you're not really probably a good fit for me because I get clients to their goals as fast as possible and in the most effective way. And that's really training 3 to 4 times per week. So remember, if you're in a position where you're desperate for clients, take on a 1 to 2 time a week element, but you're always leading in a sales environment with the 3 to 4. And we talk about this in tons of our podcasts in the sense of you're always framing the client's value and mindset on the largest possible package. Because if you frame someone on 4 times per week and they're like, oh, that's a lot of training, or I don't know if I can afford that. It's okay, what about the 3 time per week option? Oh, that sounds better, yes. as opposed to if you start off, oh yeah, you can train 2 to 3 times per week, and you say, oh yeah, so start with the 3 times per week, they're gonna be like, oh, no, that sounds like a lot of training, or it's a little expensive, so I'm gonna only train 2 times per week. You have to think about the sales environment as building up the best package, framing that, sell that, and then if anybody chooses something below that, it's one step below typically. It's not often all the way down to 2 to 1 times per week. Super important to go into the mindset with a science behind why they would want to train 3 to 4 times per week. And then also with the mindset of framing that as that's what is going to be best for them. And basically from a sales perspective, building or pitching the biggest package first always leaves a little bit of room underneath that for the next package, which is still great at training 3 times per week. So when you think about this, you really sometimes can frame it like, okay, I'm going to sell a 12-week plan. For 12 weeks, you're going to train 3 times per week. That's 36 total sessions, and it's going to be X amount of money. But you're selling them the goal. You're not selling them the sessions. You're not selling them the 12 weeks. You're selling them the goal. If you want to achieve this goal, it's 3 times per week for 12 weeks, and here's the price tag on achieving your goal. So remember, you're not selling sessions. You're never selling sessions. You're never selling hours of your time. You're never selling a personal training package of 36. You're selling, if you want to look great in your bikini by summer, here is the price tag. Because when you frame the sale around the goal and the cost around the goal, the value changes relative to, $100 per session, $100 per session times 36 sessions, that's $3,600. Oh, so I'm basically $100. Oh, that's a lot per hour. You don't want to get them in that mindset. You really want to have them focus on, $3,600 to look my best ever, and I could pay monthly at $1,200 a month, and in 3 months I'm going to be looking the best I've ever looked in a bikini, that sort of thing, whatever it is. That's really what you're looking to do. And guys, I talk about all this in my book, Business and Sales, The Guide to Success as a Personal Trainer, as well as in our course, which is Business and Sales, the CEU course. That will get you approved for all CEUs. You need to recertify your personal training certification. We go deeply into sales strategies, but this is something that's super important, that you don't sell sessions, you don't sell personal training, you don't sell any of that. You're selling 100% to their emotion attached to their goal. Super important that you always focus on that. And when you think about that, if they're going to invest $1,000 and not achieve their goal, that's what they need to be aware. Because, for 1 time a week for 12 weeks, that's $1,200, and you're not going to get to your goal. So the whole point of selling them one time per week is not going to be effective with their money or with their time or with their ability to achieve that goal. So you have to kind of shoot it straight when it comes to them in that way. And guys, if you're looking to build a long-term sustainable personal training business, you want to focus on 3 to 4 times per week, because having that, you're going to have the best long-term clients. They're going to achieve the best goals. They're going to recommend everyone to you because they've achieved their goals in a quick and efficient way. And that's just the best overall for this industry. With this, let's say somebody can't train or can't afford to train 3 times per week, but wants to. How can you make that affordable? A semi-private, like 2 people or 3 people training for the same goal, can be a great way to do that. So if, let's say, you have your core 8 clients that train 3 times per week, that's 24 sessions per week, maybe you open up those other slots for a reduced price, but you're training with someone. But you're able to then train 3 times per week as opposed to not. So you can also get creative with your time. Typically, when you do 2 to 3 person sessions, you're actually getting paid more per hour. So there's an opportunity there. And it's important just to recognize that you need to make it work, but you also need to make sure it's effective at achieving their goals. As opposed to saying, hey, yes, $100 per month, $100 per session, you're going to get 12 sessions over those 12 weeks. What if you can only afford $1,200, what if we did $60 a session, but you're training with another person? And then you're going to train at least 2 times per week. Or the same thing for the 2 time a weeker, trying to get them to 3 times a week. 1 time a week, you're going to come train privately with me. And then 2 times a week, you're going to go with a group, or this 2 to 3 people. Make it work for their budget. Be creative in that sense, but make sure they are getting their 3+ sessions in per week, because that is the best way to get them to their goal. And remember, guys, when you're selling this, you're not selling this to make money. You're not selling this to we'll say, make it affordable for them outside of their goal or without that sort of element. You're really looking to be a coach and a support system and a motivator to get them to their goal. You are truly caring about their ability to look their best or achieve the goal that they want to achieve. And in my opinion, if you're doing a disservice if you say, yes, we can get you to your goal with 1 time a week, because it's just not as effective, very unlikely to occur, and it can really put people in a position of they're frustrated because they can't achieve this goal, even with a personal trainer. So really, when we think about this, you are the expert. Make sure they know that you truly care about them and truly care about helping them get to their goal. And then frame the sale as if 3 to 4 times a week is a must, and then make it work. Whether it's semi-privates or group training or individual training, if they are able to really commit to their goal 3 to 4 times a week individually. I think this is just super important because there's much, we'll say, stigma on personal training out there and glorified rep counters, those sort of elements. And what we really need to do is we need to make sure that we get people to their goals as quickly and effectively as possible, and honestly for the least amount of money as possible. I think it's super important to recognize that when you do it right, it's actually most efficient and costs less. If someone wanted to achieve a goal in 12 weeks and they train once per week, it's unlikely that they're going to get to their goals quickly. So they're wasting money because literally they might have to train for 3 times the amount, 36 weeks, to achieve that same goal they could have done in the shorter amount of time with training more. So guys, really think about this in your business right now. Where is there an opportunity for you to go to your current clients and make sure that they know that they should be training 3 to 4 times per week, or when you are building your business, when you're looking to start training and start selling personal training to people, make sure they know that the expectation is 3 to 4 times per week, and hit that hard, because it will 100% ensure that your business is successful because of that. You don't want to train people 1 to 2 times per week because it's not good for your books. It's not effective for your time. People won't get the results in an effective way as often. And it's just important to note that everything in your business will be better if you're able to really focus on that tool. And I just can't believe the amount of additional revenue the people that I've been consulting with have driven in just through changing that mindset of, oh yeah, we let people train 1 to 2 times per week. It's like, oh, actually, we don't really encourage that because it won't get you to your goal, so you're just wasting money. Boom. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities for anyone out there, but really for you listening to this right now, is make sure you're framing 3 to 4 sessions in every sales process, as well as just because it's important and it's really the best practices as a personal trainer. And I'm sure in your own life, you've recognized that if you train once to twice a week, that's more maintenance. You're not really going to be growing muscle. You're not going to be getting as lean. You're not going to be hitting all of these goals and milestones that you want to hit. And us as personal trainers, we already work out 3 to 4 times per week, if not more, because we enjoy it and we love it. But we are in great shape typically because we focus on that sort of training with, or we'll say, effective programming with that volume or total times per week. And that's really what we need to be pitching out there as what's most important to helping someone achieve the goals, that thing. And it's super exciting to see people have this switch and drive in way more revenue and not settle for, oh yeah, I got a new personal training client. It's like, but he's 1 time a week, so it's not a big impact in my business. When you can transition that to 3 to 4 times per week for every single client, everything ends up being better. So hopefully you guys picked up this tip. And while repetitive, I just really want to encourage you to do this because it's super crucial to the long-term success of your business and being able to really help people effectively. So thanks so much for checking out the Certified Personal Trainer podcast. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.
As always, thanks for listening to the Certified Personal Trainer podcast. You can learn more about fitness mentors at fitnessmentors.com. Be sure to share this podcast on social media. And remember, we are here to help you succeed.